emphasis there. We talk about a parallel emphasis on academic excellence and character education. The speaker today, Domina Blount, has carried the heavy load on both of those. For many years, she was head of what's called positive behavior support effort, which is our character ed and reinforcements and discipline. And now she's the assistant director for instruction. So she's moved to the other side. The impact she's had on schools has been hard to overstate. She's been there 11 years. She's a undergraduate from East Carolina University, and she has her master's from the University of Cincinnati. She has 2 children there, a 2nd grader and a 6th grader. So it gives me pleasure to introduce to you Domina Blount.
Thank you, Mr. Martin, and thank you all for having us here today. I won't take up much of your time. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our school and our mission and what we're about here at Sugar Creek and what we feel makes us just a little bit special. And I'm going to, there we go. Sugar Creek Charter School at a glance, and I won't read it all to you, but just a little bit about us. As Mr. Martin said, we're a K school, approximately 900 students, and we've expanded this year to get up to about those 900 students. When I first got there 11 years ago, we were around 500. So this has been a big growth for us over the years. And we have over 350 students on our waiting list, which is huge for us because that tells us that we must be doing something where people still want to keep coming. Our student body consists of students who have historically been considered highly at risk for school failure because of their exposure to drugs, violence, poverty. A lot of low-income families that attend our school, but we found a way to make it work for them. And so that's what we want to share a little bit about today. And we've recently expanded our facility to serve an increasing student body. As I said, every year we have a very expanded waiting list, and regardless of how many hallways we add, every year we still have a good number of students on our waiting list. So this opening has allowed for 11 classrooms and additional office space for our growing staff. The facilities, we recently added a cafeteria and auditorium, and that has to do with what Mr. Martin just spoke about, our PBS program, and making sure that we're encouraging students and that they have a safe place to come. And our cafeteria, and the beginning of opening our school, our students used to eat in classrooms. And that was the time for them to eat and socialize and things like that. But we wanted to be able to give them that space, that they could feel comfortable and meet with their friends and socialize. So we've recently built the cafeteria and the auditorium for our award ceremonies and different celebrations of our students. And the pictures you see there, we have the students running for student council. We actually have our student council elections today at this school. And so we've had a chance to be able to do more things like that now that we have a space where the student body can get together and enjoy each other. We also have a science lab that teachers are able to sign up for, and the students can go in and do those experiments and get more of that hands-on learning. And our recent project that we are so proud of, which is our newly built playground. And this was a partnership with Kaboom and the Shutterfly Foundation. And they've come together, and Shutterfly helped fund the foundation. And Kaboom kind of linked us together with this partnership. And they sent out people to come and fund it and help come up with ideas. And they sent lots of volunteers as well. We had volunteers from the community, parents, radio station, news people, the Bobcats. Lots of people came out to really volunteer and help build this new playground for our students because the one that we had wasn't quite meeting the standard, and we needed something for these students. And so this was a wonderful experience. In one day, over 200 volunteers, parents, and students helped to build our brand new playground. And the next thing that we have opening is our new library. That should be opening next month, fingers crossed. Operations, transportation is a really big thing for Sugar Creek because we serve students all over Mecklenburg County. So now we have over 11 buses that run throughout Mecklenburg County, all over. We pick up our students. We try to structure it so that they don't have such early or such late bus stops. But we want to make sure that all of our students can get there. Like I said, the population that we serve is not likely to have transportation on their own to get there at all times. And a lot of charter schools aren't able to offer transportation, but we had to put that into our program and figure out a way to make that work if we were going to meet the needs of our babies. Technology, we have 2 full computer labs, but one of the big things that we have is we have 11 class-size mobile labs so that each grade level has a mobile lab that they share within the teachers in that grade so that our students are learning what's happening now and they're going into the 21st century and they're understanding that type of instruction They're able to access technology and get away from the old textbook format and really get into exploring learning and understanding what's happening. Child nutrition, we do participate in the federal child nutrition program, and again, speaking on the students that we serve, over 90% of our population is on the free and reduced lunch program. And we don't see that as a negative thing, actually, because one of the things that Sugar Creek is looking at being is a 90-90-90 school. And the first two 90s aren't ones that are necessarily by choice for us. The first one has to do with the free and reduced lunch, that's 90% or more that are on free and reduced lunch. The other part has to do with 90% or more minority students, and again, that is the students that we serve. But the other 90 has to do with student achievement. And that's the goal that we're working on now, is having 90% of our students to achieve at or above grade level. And we're definitely on track to get that. When I first came to Sugar Creek, we were in the maybe high 30s, and then a couple of years later we got to our 40s and we stayed there for a minute. But we've been able to move up to 80.1% this last year. And we're definitely on track to get to be that 90-90-90 school. And the other part is we offer athletics. We believe in building the total child. And so there's a charter school league that we actually participate in, and our students are able to play baseball, basketball, cheerleading, cross country, soccer, softball, volleyball, a whole gamut of sports at no cost to the parents, to make sure that our students are well-rounded, be able to get out and experience some things that maybe they wouldn't have experienced before. And we host those home events at the Sugar Creek Rec Center. We have a partnership with them. And here's the meat of Sugar Creek. Our approach to student success, there's a big two-part. There's a lot of things that go into making Sugar Creek what it is, and we're not saying that we have the complete answer for everyone. We've found something that works for our students, and we're hoping that by exposing it to other people that maybe you can pull pieces and other schools can pull pieces that really work for them. But here's what we found that works. And the one side of it is the academics. And the first part is the Common Core, which is the instructional model that the state has adopted, and that has to do with Common Core standards for everyone across the country. Next is the learning focused model, and that's the program that the school has adopted, and we'll talk a little more about that. Our curriculum team, we have 4 curriculum specialists, and their job is to pretty much be ongoing mentors for the teachers. And we found that that was something that the teachers were missing at times, is having that person to go to and give resources and ideas and really work with them. And teaching to mastery. We believe that all students can learn, giving the appropriate opportunity. And that when they're not learning, that's not a failure on the student's part, that that's a failure on our part. We have to figure out what we can do to make that child be successful. The other side of it is the climate, and this is a huge part for us, as Mr. Martin talked about. We look at building the total child and looking at positive behavior support and reinforcing our students. So we have the character education program, which we teach in the classrooms, but we also incorporate it through everything that we do. The other one is the school-wide behavior management plan. That is consistent, that every classroom you go into, people are having those same conversations with the students. What color are you on? How are your things going? Are you going to the green team party? So that students get to hear that reinforcement everywhere that they go. And our positive behavior support program, which has to do with incentives for both our students and our teachers. Because what we realized was that we have to make sure that we're encouraging our teachers as well and showing them that we support them. And the things that they have in common is that they have a common language that you hear around the school wherever you go, and that they're research-based, and we're giving them time to work. We're actually implementing things and giving them time to take hold, and that everything we do is student-centered. And those are just some ideas that go along with those, the Common Core. Learning Focus, we incorporated Learning Focus in 2005, and since that inception, the scores have improved from 43% to 80.1%. The curriculum team, our curriculum specialists that work as an ongoing mentor program for our teachers. It's data-driven. They're constantly looking at the data. I work one-on-one with these teachers to make sure, with this curriculum team, to look at the data and see where our students are going and what's happening when those students are failing. And even if it's one student that's failing, what can we do to get that one student where they need to be? Team teaching and ongoing professional development. We don't just put our teachers out there with professional development and then they go home and forget about it. It's ongoing and consistent and pervasive. And teaching to mastery, that understanding that every student can learn. And the climate, as we talked about, character education, taught and integrated throughout everything, and building the total student. And you'll hear a lot at Sugar Creek about building the total student. We understand that we have to give them the academic background in order to be successful, but we have to also consider everything else that they're getting at in life, and we have to be able to support that as well. the school-wide behavior management program. We have a uniform system of addressing behavior. As you see our students in the picture, we have a school uniform policy, and that's to make sure that all our students come in on an even playing field, and that they feel comfortable coming to school and they don't feel like they're going to be judged based on their appearance. And a positive behavior support program with positive reinforcement, staff and student recognition, and student-centered activities and incentives that we talk to our students, our student councils that are voting today. We talk to our students to find out what it is that they want, what's going to motivate them, and we try to address those needs. And those are some more ideas of just building up the total student with character education. We have an after-school program, which is Connections and Transitions Academy. We call it the CATS program. And it started in 2009, and we've actually focused on some of our most at-risk students. We've been able to incorporate a lot of students in the program over the last couple of years. And this also allows an opportunity for volunteering and people that come in and work. We have a lot of students that come over from UNC Charlotte to help with our CATS program. And it's a STEM program, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's focused in that area. We have students now working on a robotics program. We have students that are in a Lego competition. They're quite excited about that. So trying to find things, again, that interest the students, but also prepare our students for the future that they're going to encounter. And we have an exceptional children's program. We have the full inclusion model. We also have the self-contained model for students that need that, but making sure that we meet the needs of every student. And then we have a gamut of specials, because we want to make sure that our students don't just get all the core stuff all day, but they're getting those things that might spark an interest that maybe they didn't know they had. And some of the things that has to do with our successes, we've improved over time despite the consistent admission of students who are below grade level. And this is always a battle for us every year. The better you do, sometimes it seems like people want to give you more and say fix it. And we try our best to do what we can. But a lot of times we get students who come in below grade level. We don't see that as a negative. We see that as an opportunity to help someone else. And so historically, 60% of those students entering have been 2 or more years behind. And so we focus on the growth of those students. They may not make it as being success in having above grade level or at grade level at the end of the year, but we want to see that growth. We want to see at least a year's growth in a year's time. And we perform schools that are similar to us, and that's not necessarily a comparison to Charlotte-Mecklenburg system. It's been able to look at what's working for our students and what can we do to expand that and help someone else, because it may be that they have a portion that's working that we're doing, but maybe they need something else. They need something to fit that one piece. And so we want to try to expand, and we're trying to work with them and work with everybody in Mecklenburg County to find out what's the best thing for our students. And then we have our composite achievement scores. I'm very proud. We are 2012. We are North Carolina School of Distinction, which is a long way from where we came from when I first entered 11 years ago. And things that go into our North Carolina School of Distinction was our 80.1 composite achievement score, and we proudly put that .1 on the end, because that was every single student. If SCCS was a CMS school, it would be ranked in the top 1/3 of all CMS schools. So we wanted to look at how we were fitting these same students. We're looking at the students of Mecklenburg County. We don't see it as anything separate. So when we look at CMS, we want to look at where would we fit in the CMS? How can we fit? We're still serving these same students. And so somehow we're getting these same students and we're finding a way to fit in with the top performing schools there as well. So also we're in the top 15% of Title I schools. And because of our free and reduced population and things that we have going on there, we are a Title I school, but we're somehow performing with these Title I students. And we have our EOG scores that are listed there. We also offer high school credits for mathematics. So we have students that are taking Algebra 1, students that are taking geometry, and they leave us with sometimes 2 high school class credits. And then we have our science, which is at 82.5%. Partnerships. We had a luncheon yesterday about the School-Wise program. And that's a partnership that we have with UNC Charlotte and the Urban Education Collaborative. And we are they sponsor the luncheon that we had yesterday, and we have education seminars throughout the year. 2 of the main focuses for the School-Wise program are the STEM curriculum for kindergarten through 8th grade. We really want to create a curriculum that we can expand and share with others. And case studies of SCCS's improvement journey, and find out what we did and what's working so that we can try to help others. And to find out what else we can do to continue to grow, because there's always room for growth. And with the UNC Charlotte partnership, we also have 4 professors from UNC Charlotte School of Education on a longitudinal study in effective ways to improve student reading comprehension. And they're coming in working with our 1st through 3rd graders and looking at their reading skills and finding out what we can do to get those students where they need to be so that they can be successful and be strong readers. And now, a little bit about getting involved. Sugar Creek Charter School is always open to volunteers, always open to finding some other way to help. We don't have all the answers, so we're looking for people with fresh ideas, fresh minds, ways that they can get involved. So opportunities for members of the community to be involved. One of them is just volunteering. We have a tutoring program during the school day where people come out and they get a student that they work with throughout the year, and they come in for 30 minutes, an hour throughout the week, and they tutor that one student. They work with them on their reading program, on their math, or whatever that child's needs are. And so we like to encourage people to become a part of that volunteer program. And the other part of volunteering would be with Cats Academy, their after-school program, finding people that can come out and give those fresh ideas. Like I said, we have robotics programs, there's banking portions to it, and having those speakers that come in and can tell the kids a little bit more about what that means. What's an engineering career involved? What would they do if they chose that field? To open their minds to something fresh and something new. And this is just a little bit of the contact information about getting involved. And if you go to the school's website, you'll see all of the same information there, so you can contact our school and get involved in different ways. We have the director, which is Cheryl Turner, and assistant director, Mr. Bruce Major, and myself from instruction. And then we have our professional development coordinator, Celeste Sundo, and the dean of student, Gerard Bridges. And then, of course, we always have Mr. Martin, who finds fun ways for us to get involved and get out there in the community. So if any of you would like to find out more about our school, please visit the website or just come out and visit. We love to have visitors, so please come out and visit. We'd enjoy having you there. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your time. Oh, yes. Is there anyone that has questions? Yes.
Have you tracked these kids from 8th grade through high school here in Charlotte?
And that's the fun part. We've talked about this several times in meetings, trying to figure out how to track our students best, because our students are with us from kindergarten through 8th grade. And what happens is, once they finish us in 8th grade, they disperse out through CMS. Some of them go through other charters. So it's a little bit more difficult for us to track them than we'd like. But we have been trying to kind of start keeping that log and finding out a little bit more. And a lot of our students come back. And so we're able to do that. One of the things that we have been able to get some feedback on is that because we've been able to offer those high school credit courses, our students are going in and performing at the top. A lot of our students are coming in and really performing at the top because they're able to go in and advance math in 9th grade. They're already taking geometry, they're taking algebra 2. They're going and taking courses that a lot of 11th and 12th graders are taking. So it gives them that little bit of an extra edge in the beginning. But we are actually collecting that data at this time because we want to keep up with our students and find out what's going on for them and how successful they're being. Yes.
What is the selection process?
We have a lottery process. All charter schools are supposed to have a lottery process. And so our re-enrolling students, they of course get to go in the lottery first. But then we have an open lottery around mid-July where everyone goes in and it's pretty much essentially taking a name out of a hat. Because we have such an expanded waiting list, it's only fair to give everyone that open opportunity to be enrolled at Sugar Creek. We do not have any criteria where we say you have to be performing at a certain rate. Obviously, we have 60% of our students coming in with 2 or more grade levels behind, so that's not by choice, it's by the luck of the draw, honestly. But we teach who we have, and we love doing that. We love the challenge, our teachers love the challenge. So it's an open door process. Yes, sir.
You see a lot of these schools outperforming this, and so what are some of the variables that you've identified that makes it different between your schools succeeding and what the regular standards in that school?
I think one of the biggest things is we have the flexibility to look at the actual child, look at each individual child, and not just give a blanket format of, here's the format that we're going to take, here's the instructional program that we're going to take. We have the flexibility of being able to say, this program works for this class, but this program may not work for this class. So we've got to take a different approach with this set of students. And having that flexibility to individualize instruction, individualize everything about their instructional practice has helped a lot. Yes.
There's this, I can't, I mean, it's being too modest. It's in a start with Mr. Martin, not because I'm old. Everybody out there uses the last name. So I should have introduced you as Mr. Blount. But there's this fundamental belief out there that every kid is going to succeed. I've never seen that kind. I mean, I think I would have had this low-level assumption that you were second generation, living up in the projects with a mom on welfare, you weren't going to succeed in life. Your cards you dealt weren't out there. One, that isn't true. I mean, I'd be wrong if I felt that way. I think a lot of people do, including people in education. But out there, there's this, and it's a matter of her leadership and Ms. Turner's leadership and Mr. Major's leadership, but they believe every child can succeed. And you constantly hear people saying out there, if the kid's not learning, it's because we're not teaching. You never hear them say it's because they don't get stimulation at home, or So I think the difference is subtle. Because if you ask any teacher, do you love your children? Yes, I love your children. What's the most important thing in a teacher? There's no difference in values in teachers, but there's this just fundamental difference in expectation out there. And as a citizen, taxpayer, it's inexcusable that kids at home, not just in Charlotte, everywhere, are failing at such enormous rates. But it's completely possible. Sugar Creek and a few other schools, there's some CMS schools that are doing this well too, but the vast majority of schools that have this student population have about 50% of them. So what they do out there is extraordinary, but it has to do with their belief. They really believe those kids can succeed.
Can you talk a little bit about how charter schools are funded?
Yes, it's a free public charter school. A lot of people see the uniforms and think that the students pay. It's a free public charter school, but we receive federal funding and all of that the same. We receive a difference in the local funding. And there's been all kinds of fun behind that, getting the appropriate funding the right way. But we don't receive things like there's no building fund or things like that. If you've ever come out to our school, we're in an OK Mart building. And we've been able to make that work. And from the outside, you see it and you think, oh, okay, it's an OK Mart, it's a rundown building. From the inside, it's a beautiful place because we've turned it into our home. So there's some things that we don't receive. We don't receive the funding for the buses or for textbooks, things like that, that a lot of that the district schools may receive. But we've been able to make it work. We've been able, like I said, like with buses, even though we didn't receive the funding for the buses, we had to put that in our budget because we had to meet the needs of our students. So where there's holes, we find a way to fill them, whether it's through fundraising, whether it's through just rearranging some things and saying, we understand that this is a priority for Sugar Creek. Yes?
A little story about expectations. This new teacher went to the school and they gave her all the lousy students. And at the end of the first semester, all of these students performed well above all the rest of the students in the school. And the principal asked her, why are these students doing so well? She said, well, there's Johnny, his IQ's 138. Jimmy, his IQ's 149. And Sam's is 128. And the principal said, what do you mean? Those are not their IQs, those are her locker numbers. She said, well, her expectation was that these kids had all the ability to learn, and they did. So I think that's a tribute to what you're doing.
Thank you, and we definitely agree. Our expectations are high. And a lot of times people would say, well, isn't that a little bit, aren't you expecting a little bit much from that student? They're coming in 2 grade levels below. What are you expecting from them? I'm expecting them to learn because that's what we're here for. We're here to help them learn. So we have no other expectation but that that student will be successful. And one of the things that we build in our students is that you will be successful. They don't question it. They don't come in thinking that, oh, I'm not going to be able to. We do a trip at the end of the year when students pass EOGs and things, and we take them to Carowinds. And every single student tells me, we're going to Carowinds. I'm going to Carowinds with you this year. They like to ride with me because I'll ride all the rides with them. And so they'll tell me, I'm going to Carowinds with you, and I'm going to ride this ride with you, and I'm going to do this with you, and I'm going to do that. And every single one of them has that expectation that I will pass, I will be successful. And they do because they have that belief. It's built into them. It's built into our teachers. And when it doesn't happen, we don't look and say, well, that child didn't study hard enough, or you just didn't work hard enough, try again next time. It's, uh-oh, what happened? What else can I do? How else can I present this to you to help you understand it? Because obviously the first way I gave it to you didn't work. You didn't get it, you didn't understand it. So how else can I give it to you so that you can understand it? And we built a long time getting our teachers to really come at that approach of understanding. If they didn't get it, maybe I didn't present it in a way that fit their way of thinking. And so now we have to find a way that does fit that student. And we individualize our instruction as such. We individualize our behavior structure as such. We find the needs of our students. We don't suspend students for 10 days at a time and things like that if we don't have to. I mean, we definitely try to keep our students in school because they're not learning anything when they're sitting home. There are very strict expectations for our students, however, but they understand that from the beginning and they're taught that over and over, and they rise to that challenge. And so we expect great behavior from them, and that's what they give us. We expect strong results from them, and that's what they give us because they expect it from themselves. Their parents expect it from them now, and it's just a different way of thinking now. Yes, sir.
Well, you have the bar set very high, and I'm really proud to hear about that. I think it's great. Do you keep up with or track dropout rates? Do you know what percentage of the students just say, I can't get there?
No, and as I was speaking before, we're still starting to collect that data now to find out about our students. Just because we kind of keep up with our students even when they leave us, as far as personally, I can tell you, I mean, I don't know percentage off the top of my head, but we are very, very stern on our students and making sure that they're staying in school and we keep up with them. I'm constantly visiting other schools. I'm on some of them contact lists. I don't know how I ended up on contact lists, but I have the free range to go and visit students at schools now. Their parents sign me in and say that I can visit their child and things. So we don't release our children when they leave us. We haven't kept up with the data per se, but we keep up with our students, and I can tell you it can't be very high because we stay on them. And when you have a whole staff of people that have been with you since kindergarten through 8th grade, and they're constantly asking you what's happening in school, why weren't you there today, it makes it a little bit tougher to disappear.
When are you going to start mentoring CNN?
Well, actually, we're looking at it from an approach of all of Mecklenburg County students are ours. And so it's not necessarily mentoring CMS, but helping everyone understand that there may be some piece of this that works for you. And especially with this population, we have to look at it a different way. It's not going to fit the same mold of every school. And we've got to fit the needs of the students.
That is, when she referred to school-wise, we announced yesterday at this, Jeff Canada was in town for this luncheon, we announced a partnership with UNC Charlotte, and that's what that really is. UNC Charlotte's had a postdoc, a PhD out studying in school for 2 months now. They're going to develop a white paper. Then the white paper is going to lead to conferences and seminars, and so it's really focused towards how do you take this stuff that works outside the walls of the school. So hopefully that's going to get some legs over the next few years.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about parental involvement, how you involve
Yes.
the parents and how that influences the student success?
Yes. Oddly enough, we do not have a PTO at Sugar Creek because we realize that our parents work 2 jobs, or they work second shift jobs, or they're working all day or something of that. So we had to find a way to keep our parents involved without making them feel like they couldn't be a part. And we found the biggest way of doing that was making them feel like they were a part of the school. So at least once a month, we have some type of event where parents can come out to the school, whether it's during the school day, whether it's on the weekend, whether it's on the evening. The event we just had for September was Walk a Night in Your Child's Shoes, where the parents got to come out and be the students for the night. And the teachers taught many lessons, and the parents got to go through and do the activities and see what happens in their child's school day. Because what we found out was a lot of parents aren't comfortable in school. They didn't have a good experience in school, so they don't want to go back. They don't want to come for a parent conference, they don't want to come for anything. And we also realized that the only time a lot of parents hear from the school is for negative things. So we started finding ways to hand them out for positive things. With our award ceremonies, we have VIP parent awards. So we find different ways to make them comfortable in the school and invite them to it. We had so many parents for the Playground Project just coming out, being a part, buying in. They got to help plan it, design it. The students gave their ideas for it. So we look for different ways to make them feel comfortable in the school. So then when we need them to come and help and work with a student or work with a project, then they're a little more comfortable in doing that. They don't just get to come in and tutor just their child's class either. If you want to read with the class, great, I've got a kindergarten class, but my child's in 6th grade. I know, but his class is great. I've got a kindergarten class that would love to have you come and read for them today. So then they also feel that it's the whole village feeling, that everybody gets to work with everybody and we all feel responsible for each other's students.